I'd like to start by talking about the role of customer needs finding in new product innovation and customer experience design. It's nearly axiomatic and hardly controversial to say that successful innovation relies on understanding customer needs. As everyone knows, customers do not buy products unless those products satisfy a need. That's because satisfying needs is what creates the value, and value is what prompts a customer to exchange money, or these days information, for your product. In other words, if you cannot satisfy customer needs, you cannot hope to make a profit. Yet amazingly, at many companies, product developers are not clear about what really constitutes a customer need. This is a problem because until you know how to define a customer need, what one is, and more importantly, what one is not, you will not know where to look or how to look for them, or what to do if you find a need. Worse, if your product team cannot agree on what a need is, you run the risk of confusing yourselves and not knowing what you are trying to solve. What's needed then is a real definition or a framework for thinking about customer needs. A good framework serves two purposes. First, it gets everyone aligned around a common language and definition. And second, it will help guide your efforts in finding needs, what to look for, who to talk to, and where and when to talk to them. That's what we'll cover today. It's not as though innovators have not tried to define customer needs before. If anything, we've overdefined the concept. Consultants like me are partly to blame because we've introduced into the lexicon of innovation an assortment of terms, each of us trying to put a finer point on the same idea. Over the past 2 decades of my career, I've seen or heard in articles, blog posts, and conference presentations terms like wants, preferences, motivations, requirements, attitudes, functional goals, desired outcomes, jobs to be done, critical to quality specifications, problem statements, and use cases. If your reaction to this list is, well, those all sound pretty much the same, you're right, they do. All of those definitions are very similar. Is there really much difference between, say, a requirement and a preference, or between a functional goal and a desired outcome? Moreover, could you even say what each of those statements really means? I certainly couldn't, at least not in a way that is meaningfully different. So rather than argue the semantics of each of the statements, I propose instead to keep it simple and stick with the term need. Most people already use need anyway. As to a definition, perhaps it is fair to say that a need is what causes a customer to buy a product. Simple enough, right? Except that it's begging the question. Put a different way, it says everything while saying nothing. It's obvious that a need is what the customer is looking to satisfy. But what does that mean? At AMS, we think about customer needs all the time. Nearly 30 years ago, we pioneered the voice of the customer, which is the study of customer needs. Since then, it's become a part of our DNA. After much consideration, and based on our previous experience and work, we've arrived at a simple definition. A need is an opportunity to deliver a benefit to a customer. On its own, this statement doesn't sound like much, so we need to unpack it a little bit more. Picking apart the definition of a need, again, an opportunity to deliver a benefit to a customer, we can identify 3 components. I'll lay them out in summary here, and then we can get into the details over the next few slides. First, a need contains a benefit, which has value. This is the what. Second, there must be a customer who values the benefit. This is the who. And third, there's an opportunity to deliver the benefit, which is created by a context. This is the when or where. So you see, really, a need is what, for whom, and when or where. That's really what we're talking about here.